I really like this. So the exits, if we need to evacuate quickly, but in an orderly fashion, obviously out the back door, out the front door. And actually, I don't even know where the loos are, but... Oh, thank you. You already know where they are, yes. So I have mentioned to everyone, phones off, please. And thanks to Diana for putting all the information up on on our emails for us, so we know what's happening. And thanks to the committee as well for putting a great program and a full program together. Oh, that's less sound. Good. And also, hello to all those people at home. It's good that you're at home watching, and you'll enjoy the evening as well. So this evening, we've got 3 speakers. And Janine, I'll just give you a thumbs up that you're going to be first. And then Adrianne. And if Craig Perkins does turn up, well, he's welcome up here too. So does anyone think they'd like to give a 10-minute impromptu? I had a feeling that might happen. So before we begin, I'll just let you know that the photographs that are up on the wall behind Alistair were found in one of our CPS boxes, and if they belong to you, will you please take them home? They've been in various competitions, and otherwise we might just auction them off. Okay, so no name on that one? It'll have a number. No, not... Okay, well, if it's yours, please take it home this evening. Yeah. All right, so we really look forward to hearing what you have to say, you two, and maybe a third person. So Janine, can I give you this and you may begin? Thanks.
Hi everyone. So you can tell this is a beginning photo by the fact that the horizon is not straight. So I just saw it then and I'm like, oh, just well, I'm starting with that one. So I'm just going to talk tonight a little bit about my journey and some of the things I've become, some of the genres I've become interested in, and maybe at the end some genres that I'm perhaps would like to learn a bit more about and work towards. So I think I've always had an interest in photography. You know, if there's a few magazines lying around, I'll always pick up the one with photography in it and have a good look at some of the images, and I've done that probably all my life. Good coffee table landscape book is always fun to look at and flick through again and again and choose my favourite. And even some of the ladies all know what Pinterest is, and I used to even save some really cool photographs on Pinterest that I really liked. Sort of all genres really. If it really tickled my fancy, it got saved. So yeah, I just appreciate a really good photo, and I guess possibly that helped to develop a wee bit of an eye, maybe. You know, looking at photos and appreciating them and seeing what looks good, what I think looks good anyway. Yeah, so so I started off with my phone and going on a few holidays and things, and just really enjoying taking photos of sort of scenery and bits and pieces and trying to be a bit arty with it. Eventually I decided that it might be really fun to get a camera. So I've got, all my kids are grown up and I've got a bit of time on my hands. So this is after COVID. I wish I had thought of this before COVID happened, because imagine having the time at home to, you know, sort of do a bit of reading and, you know, sort of a bit of learning. That would have been a really good time to do that. But never mind, I didn't do that. So, yeah, so I got my first camera, went into one of the camera shops, and I had no idea what brand I wanted or anything, and I talked to the guy there, and he said, oh, we got these little Nikon mirrorless cameras, so I did buy I thought, well, I'm just going to go, I don't want to start with a beginner's camera, I'm just going to straight into a camera that I'll always have. Yes, so big learning curve technology-wise, and I do tend to pick people's brains whenever I see another Nikon person. They're always going to be my very best friend. So if you want to go next, please. So I realised that I really enjoy big vistas. So I guess that's where I sort of started out. And everyone will know where that is, the Lindis. And I'm really lucky to have family down Central Otago, so I do travel down there a lot. So the travel down there nowadays takes a long time, and I like to go by myself so I can stop every 5 minutes and take photos. So next. Yes, this is one of the first photos that's Lake Ellesmere. It was just a really amazing day. I couldn't believe it when I was out there, and thought, wow, this is really cool. I did take some really, really nice ones. Some of my beginning photos are embedded somewhere in Lightroom, and I can't find them for now, and I only had about 4 days to get this ready, so I need to sort of have a bit of a delve. But anyway, there's a bit of a learning curve on some of the photos. Hopefully you'll be able to see that I've grown a little bit anyway. Next. So I realised through looking through my photos that I love taking photographs of trees, as do a lot of photographers. I think it's a thing. I think trees are calming and fun and really cool shapes, and you can do lots of things with them. This one in Lightroom, I've tweaked it about 3 different ways, so that's just one of the tweaks. So yeah, I just like doing that. It's quite fun. So next. There's an ICM one, so that's in Quail Island, I think. Next. So I was really lucky on some of my travels down to Central Otago. On the way there, it was very, very foggy. I knew there was a hoarfrost looming, and on the way down, just fog. I took a few foggy ones, but it was too foggy really to actually get a decent photo. So on the way back though, I got this day, and I have taken some really cool photos that I'm very, very proud of, and just, I think I've realised that getting out there is everything, and being in the right place at the right time is another thing, and I mean, that day you could not take a bad photo. So next. So the sky really was like that before the sun came out. It really was like that. It was incredible. It was like, wow. So yeah, it was. I was wet up to my knees, having so much fun. I guess for me, the photography is adventure, fun, being out in nature. I just love the outdoors. Yeah, I don't mind getting wet and dirty and cold and everything. So yeah, next. That's Lake Hayes, and I saw that and I thought that's quite cool. It's a bit different. Next. I've got a friend that lives down in Geraldine. That's a stand of trees on her property. There's some cows in the background. She's got a dairy farm, so I do tend to take a lot of photos when I'm down there. I think I've got the next is, that same stand of trees with the sunrise behind it in winter. Next. That one's in Queenstown Gardens, I think, in autumn. And I've done quite a bit of tweaking in Lightroom with that, just to make it a bit sort of bit arty and different, just for fun. Next. This one is up in the Remarkables. It's Lake Alta, which is, you have to drive up and then walk up one of the top of the ski fields there. And I just love this one because it's hard to tell where the water is and where the rocks end. The reflection was so amazing that it's like, I feel for me, it's a really cool photo. I really like it. Next. So we've moved on from trees to reflections, obviously. So This is, I was trying out my car, a little bit of four-wheel driving from Twizel to Ohau, and come across just following along the river there, and thought this reflection was pretty amazing actually. Yeah, I hadn't seen anything like that, so that was really cool. Next. Again in Twizel, I've got a friend there that has a log cabin, and I can stay there sometimes, so I always thought Twizel was a pretty boring place, but actually most of you will probably already know, which I didn't know, that Twizel is the coolest place for photography. It really is. So those ones before of the hoarfrost were taken in Twizel. So yeah, so it's really worth getting up early for. That's just one of the canals. And I've got lots and lots of those different sunrise ones from the canals. They're pretty cool. Next. So I would like to do a few other things, like maybe street photography. I'd like to learn it a bit more. So that's probably what I'd like to, one of the things I'd like to do a wee bit more learning around. So that is the Riverside Market, just for fun. So next. That one is the Lumineous Cinemas, and I just thought it was really cool. Little space there. It was really well lit, and just thought it was really, really nice. Next. You'll know that's in Ferrymead, one of the market days, and I thought it was sort of almost looks a bit Christmassy. It looks like it's a postcard. It doesn't look real actually, for whatever reason, but I thought it was quite fun, just for something different. I think, I guess as photographers we're drawn to things, and I think I'm drawn to trains, buildings, trees, reflections, amongst other things. So yeah. Next. That's just another wee have a go at a street photography. Like to sort of try and perfect that a wee bit as I learn a few new things. So I think I was just going to talk about the editing. When I first started out, I was using a free editing app, and I realised the limitations of that, and that I would really like to have more scope. So I purchased Lightroom and Photoshop bundle. Photoshop is a mystery still, which is pretty hard. I can do a few things, but I do find that Lightroom is, I think a lot of photographers can do a lot of their stuff in Lightroom, so that's good, and I think I've learned quite a few things in that, and still a wee bit more to learn, but I feel quite happy that I know enough in there to make my photos look good. But might as well do next. So we're just going to come on to the ICM now. I realised that I really enjoy the editing as much as I enjoy getting out and taking photos. I think I've got a bit of an arty bend, but I can't draw. So there's a problem. But when you can put your photos into an editing app like Lightroom, you can do all sorts of things, and I really feels like it satisfies my sort of arty need for doing something creative there. I just really feel that it's just really fun, and I just really enjoy it, and I can spend a couple of minutes editing something, or I can spend a couple of hours. And I tend to start out editing probably 4 or 5 photos if I've been out, pick out some ones. I'll go from one to the other, and I'll come back to them, because when I come back to something I'll realise that, it's too orange, or it's too bright, or it's too whatever. When you look at it again, for me, that's how I seem to be able to operate. And just the second or third look sometimes is quite good, and sometimes I just will shut it down and have a look at it the next day, which I find is really helpful as well. So next. So these ones are just some ICM. Most of them are in Central Otago, some might be the Port Hills and different things. Next. So the thing about ICM, which I really love, is you never know what you're going to get. And you can take as many photos as you like, and each one is so different. And the thing is too that when the light is possibly a little bit too dim for taking a decent sunset photo or sunrise photo, if you get there a bit early, that's a perfect time to do some ICM, and actually you can start doing some photography and just have a bit of fun, switch up when the light is good for taking photos in the normal way. But yeah, I've just really enjoyed that. And also I find you don't need necessarily to do a lot of editing with some of them. They sort of speak for themselves a little bit at times. Right, next. That's in Quail Island, is something a wee bit different. I quite like that. I find if I share my photos with friends, they don't like the ICM so much. But I do. And for me, my photography is what I like. I don't care what anybody else likes. It's for me, and I like it, and that's what's important. And yeah, so some people like it, some people won't, and that's okay. That's all right. I'm getting joy from it. Next. So we're getting on to weather now, because I reckon if I had the opportunity, I could be one of those people that chases the weather. What do they call them? Sorry?
Storm chaser.
Storm chaser. Oh, yeah. I'd love to be a storm chaser. And actually I've got a story of one coming up soon. So this is, it's just out of a Marama, and I was down at Lake Benmore taking some photos, and it was okay, but I was turning to go back to Twizel, and I happened to look down the road towards the Lindis, and I saw this weird orange light. I thought, what is that? So I turned the car around, and then there I went, and the fog was just amazing. I got lots of photos that day as well. I don't know if you can sort of see it, that dark bit is the fog, and it was sort of lifting, and the sun was sort of coming from under, sort of underneath it. It was like, wow. Just, I think, again, just the luck of being there at the right time. Next. So this is one of my storm chasing photos. This was last year sometime, maybe, I can't remember what month it was, but I did hear there's a big storm coming, and I watch a few weather pages, and I was at work actually, and I said to my boss, I'm gonna, because I only work part-time, I'm gonna take 2 hours for lunch today, and I'll be back, but and I'll make up the time another day, because there's a big storm coming. So away went down to Brighton, and sure enough, it was pretty incredible. I ended up the only one on the pier, because people could see it coming, and the wind was coming, and I just got absolutely soaked, but who cares? It was amazing. It was really incredible. So again, sometimes just making the effort to actually get out there is really rewarding. You can be rewarded with a picture that you wouldn't have got if you sat at home, I guess. Yeah, so next. I had to drop my dad. My dad was in hospital in Dunedin, so I had to drop him back to Alexandra to meet my brother, and came back on the pig route, which I hadn't been on for a long, long time last year, and saw these nor'westy clouds happening, and somebody will remember the name of the clouds. I know they will, but I can never remember the name of them.
Venticular?
Yep, I think they are venticular clouds. They were sort of forming in a different way like that, yeah. So I got some pretty cool photos that day as well, just, again, being lucky to be out there and in the right place at the right time. That trip took a while, and I was pretty tired by the end of it. It was a pretty long drive, but it was just so much fun. Yeah, so next. This one, they are venticular clouds, I'm sure. So this was at Lake Clearwater. Camped there for a couple of nights. Must have been not this Christmas, but the Christmas before, I think, or the one before. I think it was the one before, yeah. Anyway, the sunset was just so cool. The whole day was just with northwest wind and everything was sort of building, and then the sunset was just reflecting off these amazing clouds. So I climbed up on this wee hill there, and you can't really see it on the big screen, but the sun is really reflecting off the grass. It's sort of yeah, it's really quite cool if you look at it sort of perhaps on a bit of a smaller screen. Next. Another one of Brighton with the cloud. That wasn't the same day as the storm, it's just another day. Next. So yeah, that's at Smoke Lake in Queenstown. So I got up to do a sunrise there, and the sunrise was absolutely useless because there was lots of fog, but gosh, the fog was actually much, much better than the sunrise. So I got lots of really cool photos that day as well. Yeah, the fog, I guess for weather, creates quite a bit of a different, view on things. Makes it a bit more interesting. It's just an added extra. Yeah, next. So I think I'd like to try out a few new things, and one of them is that I'd like to get a wee bit more arty with some of my photos and maybe take photos that are a bit more intimate, just to try out a few sort of arty things. So yeah, that would be different. Next. Maybe a little bit of minimalism would be quite fun. I think it's Pukaki. I think it's Pukaki, yeah. Yeah, so just, I don't know, just trying out a few different types of things. Yeah, just trying to expand a little bit. Next. That one I actually took in the weekend. So you guys all know where that sculpture is down sort of Brighton way there, and I edited it in a bit of a, I tried to edit it in a bit of a more of an arty way. It didn't look like that in the raw at all. Just for fun, just to try out something different. Next. This one, it was at St Clair's Beach in Dunedin. That was a sunrise, and I made it really dark just because I just wanted to push the boundaries of what I could do in Lightroom just for fun, and I actually just, I don't know, I just really like it. I don't know if anybody else does, but I don't care because I just really like it. Yeah, next. So here's me, that one I think I entered, was it last week or the week before, in one of the competitions, I think. Just trying to, yeah, take perhaps not the big vistas, trying to, not be a one-trick pony and try some different things. So trying to take a wee bit more intimate type photos, maybe. Yeah, next. And then I'd really like to learn some macro. There's a wee go, and yeah, I think I need quite a lot of work in that to just get things focused. There's a whole new thing there with all the focus stacking, which I have no idea how to do. So that could be something I could learn in the future. I'm quite keen to learn. Next. So yeah, I guess there's a fungus trip coming up, and I could progress from taking fungus like this to potentially taking ones this big if I did a little bit of learning on how to do macro. That's at the light show in Christchurch. I think it was last year. So next. So if I decide to go on the fungus trip, then that's the road we'll be going on, I figure. So and next. And then for me, photography is all about seeing the beauty, what's out there, and I think sometimes the beauty and even in the ugly, although there's no ugly in this one. And that actually was a wee rainbow at a sunset just above a camping ground in Karamea. Just climbed up the hill there and just saw that, and just wow. So that was just really cool. And I think for me, photography is quite addictive, because the next one might be the good one, the next one might be the good one, the next one might be the good one. So I don't know if I've got an addictive personality or not, but perhaps we all have to a certain extent. But you know, you just never know what you're gonna get. So yeah, I just find it really fun, and it's an all-consuming hobby, and I just haven't got enough time in my life to do everything I want to do. So I guess that's a good way to be and a good way to finish.
Thanks, Janine. That was really informative and quite inspiring too, wasn't it? You obviously keep your camera with you all the time. Yes, that's one good tip. Just keep your camera with you all the time, even if it's only your cell phone camera. That was really cool. A lot of planning goes into what you do.
No planning. No planning. Just no. I'm an impatient person. No, go out there and just do it.
And now let's hear from somebody else. Adrianne, are you ready to come up? Looks like the guys have got your slides ready. Would you like this?
Do you want your notes? Okay, I started photography in January 1st, 2016. I know that because a friend of mine online started in a photo a day group, and she said to the group of friends from the group we met in, would you like to join me? So this isn't my first photo. I couldn't find a copy of the first photo I did, but it was simply, the prompt for that day was black and white, and I had a little book, and in it there was a page. In the middle of the page there were the words, make some art. And to me that was my inspiration, because I've always wanted to make art, and like was said before, I can't draw to save myself. So this was one of my early phone pictures, because in those days all I had was my phone. The flower grew on a vine, and they're about the size of about half your little fingernail. So in those days I had a little attachment for my phone that you stuck a little metal circle around the camera, and you had a fisheye attachment or a macro attachment or a wide angle attachment, and I had them, only ever used the macro attachment. So, and that's when I got with that. I didn't use Lightroom in those days because I didn't even know it existed. Next. I really wanted to get into arty photography. I'd made this ball of rubber bands. I put it in a dark background, and that's what I got from it, just from editing in Google Photos. Next. Again, there was a flood at the same park where I took the flower, that little flower, and I liked the reflection of the trees in the floodwater, and you can tell it's not upside down because the grass is growing straight up. So people have accused me of turning it up, and it's not. Next. This fence post was just round the corner from where we lived in Australia. It's the only photo of it that I really got that I really liked. It worked for one of the prompts that year, and I liked the rusty barbed wire and the craggy old fence post. Next. Again, I was looking for arty shots, and I was still using my phone at this stage. And just the light over there in Queensland can change so much. I mean, it always looks the same if you're not looking properly, but you walk about and you get up a bit earlier, or you go out in the evening, and the light changes so much through the day. Next. I loved taking birds while I was in Australia. This one was a very lucky shot. It's not as sharp as I would like it to be, but I sort of just had to, my daughter pointed it out to me and I sort of just had to swing my camera up to capture it. I just got a DSLR at that stage. It was a 10 megapixel Olympus. And normally they don't fly with their crests up, it's normally down, so that was a really lucky shot. Next, blue-faced honeyeaters, they were around a little bit and usually fairly easy to capture. You know it's an adult because the bit round the eye is blue. For the young ones, it's still the green, same colour as their feathers. Next, everybody loves a rainbow lorikeet though, and where we lived there were thousands of them. You could get photos of them every day, all year round. Next, this guy was in Ipswich in Queensland. There's a big park area in the centre of the city, just like Hagley Park, only a bit bigger, and in it there's a little zoo. We've got all Australian animals. This guy would never move away from the fence so that I could get a good photo of him. So I always just managed to get the head and cut off the beak because I had to put the phone through the chain link fence. He was a nuisance, but I liked him anyway. Next. Then in 2020 I got a new camera because we decided to move back to New Zealand. We actually got it from Costco. It was ex-display camera, so we got it for about half price. So it was well done. This is one of the first images I took with it. The difference between the definition of the 24 megapixel to the 10 megapixel was absolutely amazing. I spotted in every photo I took. Next. When we got back to New Zealand, I met this guy. Next. And this guy in Christchurch Photographers Group for their Tuesday walks. These guys taught me so much. It was them who encouraged me to join the CPS. And yeah, I found a community here, so I love it. Next. This is one of the first images I put into a competition here. I was really disappointed at the feedback on it, but now I look at it, I didn't see it at the time, but now I look at it, the bud is not sharp. But I didn't see it at the time, I just liked the composition. I've been trying to get another one similar ever since, but I haven't been able to find it. Next, my first ever honours here at CPS. This was a gentleman who lived down the road from us in Australia. He was African, didn't speak a word of English, and he used to sit out by his letterbox every day waiting for the postie. So one day I just got up the courage, didn't know that he didn't speak English, but I got up the courage to go and talk to him. Luckily, his grandson was there who did speak English, and he helped us communicate. He was absolutely lovely. I just loved the difference between his chocolate-coloured skin and his white hair and beard. He was such a lovely old gentleman. Next. In late 2022, we had the Wild Child workshop. And this was the lovely lady who took us for the ICM. I'd never heard of ICM before that. Now, this is a zoomy shot. And really, really enjoyed that weekend. I got some pretty good shots too. Next. This is just some trees, an up and down shot at 1/8 of a second in Hagley Park. It was taken the same morning. Next. The same set of trees, but just from a little bit further back. and a slightly different angle, and just going up this time. Next, corfeyes. It was a summer workshop, it was a spring workshop, so there were corfeyes in bloom between the walk from St Margaret's down to Hagley, so I ICM'd them. And I thought it came out quite good. Next. This is my favourite shot from the weekend. On the Sunday morning we went out to Sumner and did some ICM out there. I don't even remember taking it. When I got back and I saw it, it became my favourite shot. I've been trying to do something similar since, but I'm obviously not clever enough yet. Next. I discovered working with lights. That Christmas we went to Cunningham House, Glass House in the Gardens, and they had some lights and Christmas decorations through the glass house. And this was just a sphere. And I just moved the camera just a little bit to capture the lights like this. Next. Again, lights. This is a tattoo parlour in New Regent Street. And again, it's just a zoomy shot. And you can read, well, you can sort of read what it says. But I think the lights just work well with ICM. Next. This was my first ICM that I put into a competition at CPS. The judge didn't like it. He said I should have had a bird flying above it. Yeah. So, yeah, it got a 1, but never mind. I still like it. Like they say, you take photos for yourself. So next. This one was my second honours. And taken at Mona Vale. And it's just a little swirl of the camera with some echinaceas. That's one of my favourites. Next. This one, really quite proud of this one. We took this in the art centre, no, in the art gallery. We'd been told not to take any more photos in the gallery itself. So we went and had coffee. And it's also a licensed cafe in there. So I saw the bottles on the wall. And so it was just a straight up and down shot. So I entered it, got accepted in that competition. And this is 2023. And on final nights, got champion C-grade print. So I was quite proud of it. Next. Again, one that the judge didn't like particularly much, but that's just the substation out at Riccarton. And it's just, again, just a shake of the camera. And I couldn't even see what I was doing because I had to hold the camera right up high to get see over the fence. But again, I like it, so it's what I like. Next. I've always struggled with people in ICM, but I quite like this one. You can sort of tell it's people there, but you're not sure because it's just colours. But I think it's a nice shot. Next. Trees. A stand of poplars in the wintertime. Always wanting to capture poplars in the autumn, and I never seem to find a nice stand at the right time. But this one came out really good. Next. More lights. Just zooming into some lights. They were, I think, in town. You know, in some places they have strings of lights up. And I just did a zoomy shot with those to capture that. Next. This is another zoomy shot taken out at that very nice garden out at Governor's Bay, the name of which I cannot remember, sorry. There's two sculptures there. One looks like a ruin of a house, and the other one is this big round ball of a thing. And I stood there for ages, just trying to make it look as though the ball was heading through the door. It took me about 25-30 minutes to finally get it, but I did get it. Next. Sometimes with ICM, you just move the camera. This is in the Rose Garden at Mona Vale, and it's just moving the camera. I think it was about 2 seconds. Next. Rickenham Mall at Christmas time. I just got up and went for a walk one day. I can do that now. I didn't used to be able to. And I walked from our place down to Rickenham Road and round through the mall and just saw the tree in the middle there and just thought, yep, that would make a really nice ICM. Next. The tram. Taken Victoria Square. I didn't have long to take it because the tram, of course, was coming towards me and I wanted a front-on shot. So I had to sort of take it and then move. So it came out where the movement was on the angle. I wasn't sure about that to start with, but the more I looked at it, the more I thought, yes, that really, really works. There were some bright, squiggly lights in front of the tram that just pull your eye away from the whole of the photo. So I removed those in Photoshop and came up with this. I also darkened down in the middle there, which was really, really bright white. Next. This was a couple of weeks later. We were in the Arts Centre in the South Quad, and this lady comes walking through. I had my camera set to about half a second, and she was swinging her umbrella with her purse over her arm, and that's how it came out. Next. Same day at the Arts Centre, just between the two quads, and just a little shake of the camera. This one was only about a quarter of a second. Next. A zoomie with lights. And I wanted to try and see if I could make it look like a star, and it worked well. Next. Another just wiggle at Echinacea in Mona Vale. I took this just last week. Much more light than my other Echinacea one, but I think it turned out pretty good too. Next. I've moved on. I'm not stopping doing ICM, but some people online were doing some double exposures, so I thought I'd give it a go. To start with, what I did was just take one photo and then take another photo without worrying about what was where. Next. Again, but then I decided to try and place things in the right place. This is the herbaceous border at the gardens. So I took a photo of the border from a distance, then we did a close-up of the flower. And in my camera, you can't do it on top of each other. You've got to actually take the two photos and then put them together. The benefit of that is, of course, you still have the two separate photos. Next. This was the same day, but I was walking home from the bus, and there's a house with some lavender outside and the bumblebee and the lavender, so why not? Next. This took me quite a while to get to because I had to actually start making placement. I had to get the flower placed in the centre and then get the seed bud centre to do a double exposure of a dandelion. Next. And then I started making really deliberate placement of where I put things. So I started out by taking a photo of the tractor, which was at the sunflower farm out at Tai Tap, and then I went and found the sunflower and managed to get what I thought was a pretty good photo from that. Next. Get dahlias at the gardens. They're always fun to photograph. I love the dahlias. Next. Now I started thinking about, well, ICM and double exposure, can I put them together? So I sort of did an ICM of the rose bush and then got a close-up of the rose itself. Next. And this is on the same rose bush, a different rose, and that one I think was my favourite of the two. Again at Mona Vale. The rose is actually called Claude Monet, so the background feels just about right for me. Next. I still love to do macro. This little guy on the sunflower, the day we went to the sunflower fields. It was quite a cool day that day, so I think he was still asleep because it didn't move much, which makes it a lot easier to get a nice sharp photo of its face. Next. Final photo. I still love taking flowers, but I sometimes like to go a bit different and look at the flowers when they're past their best, because I think they're all part of what nature does to them. Photography has become just who I am now, just what I love to do so much. And even if I go out and don't get anything good, I still have fun. I still meet up with people who are cool and friendly. And it's just what I love to do now. I'm not really that great at editing, but I'm trying and I'm improving. But that's all. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Adrianne. So wasn't that great, seeing two different aspects of members of our club? So that was Janine McIver and Adrianne Gentleman. If you haven't heard of these people before, you know a bit more about them now. And it's great that you both have fun with your camera. Keep your camera with you. We've learnt a lot about what they do. Thank you both. And the sense of community that you talked about, Adrianne, we've certainly found that here. And tonight I see a lot of new faces because I haven't been here for a while. And it's great that the club's growing and developing new interests with people with different types of cameras. So great that you're here. Now, just to finish off, conclude the evening, unless we've got that person for 10 minutes who would like to say something.
I could say something if you like.
What would you like to say, Alan?
Well, Alice, if you log into, go into Chrome, I'll do a bit of a product advertisement.
Product advertisement, okay. I can do an advertisement while he's finding that. This weekend there's a dahlia show on, and two people, well actually three people from our club are going to be part of that with their photography and their flowers. So the dahlia show, is Nelson still here? No, yes. Where is it being held, Nelson?
St. Peter's Church in Wickerton, Upper Wickerton, in the church. I think it starts the afternoon. Hang on.
Yeah, 12:30 or 1 to 4 o'clock.
Okay.
There's competition in the morning and everything will be judged, and that's why it's not open then, but it opens 12:30.
Right. Yes, and these two boys, John and Nelson, they've got some awesome flowers that they've been growing, and so it'd be great for you to go and have a look if you want to. I suppose you're allowed to take your camera to take photographs of them. Better just check the detail on that.
Yes.
Yes? Oh, good. Okay. Right. Well, there you go, Adrianne. You can do some double images there. They're not going to blow in the breeze. You can control that camera more. Yeah. And the other thing I'd like to say from up here is welcome back to Karen Dance, who's been overseas for a couple of days. And any of you who are on Facebook must have been thrilled with the messages and the photographs that she sent us on her trip. So I expect that you will get your 10 minutes together and show us a bit about your trip at some point. Is that possible? It is possible. Great. Thank you. How are you doing, Alan? So while he's finding that, a bit of a promo about what's happening here. So on the 12th of March, we have got Diana, that's you, Diana, isn't it? Diana talking about how to enter a print. Is that into the PSNZ competitions? Okay. And you'll cover how to present a print like these ones on the wall for here as well? Yeah. So, right. So the 7 p.m, Diana knows a lot about the rules and regulations of prints, and she's produced quite a few really good ones. And you can see each one of those up there is slightly different in the way they're presented. But for our competitions, we need the print to be secured inside a mat so that it doesn't get damaged in transit, and also it displays really well. So Diana will give us a few tips on how to go about doing that. And then at 8 o'clock, Mike Browne is going to hold a Zoom meeting, and he'll be up on the screen here. Is that the plan? Good. And his subject is learn to master your camera, expand your thinking and creativity, and gain confidence. So I don't know anything about Mike Browne. Who knows him already? What is he a New Zealander? He's overseas? He's English.
He's English, and he began a photo lockdown during lockdown, a weekly challenge competition.
Okay.
And that is still continuing, though not weekly anymore, it's monthly now, but Photo Creative. So a Photo Creative Facebook group is run by Mike.
Okay, all right. Okay, so we can all do a bit of a search for him and find out more about him. So that's Mike Browne from England. That'll be good. Did you put us onto that, Jane? Well done. So moving on to the next part I need to tell you about is closing soon. So this evening is the natural history. So if you have not had a natural history photograph in yet, please read the rules, because they are different from putting in an open, for instance. You know, like an ICM probably wouldn't fit it. A double image probably wouldn't fit it. So read the rules, and generally the subject is to be an animal or some vegetation or a mineral of some sort in its environment, demonstrating its behavioural characteristics. So you might have a picture of a heron with a fish in a stream, and name it accordingly so that it's got its scientific name, if you can possibly find it. So there's a little bit more to putting a natural history image in than your opens. And then on the 12th of March is the next digital PI, projected image. It's the second one this year, and it's in the open category where anything goes, really. So that's when you can put your ICMs and your double images and what have you in. And you can do all sorts of editing on Lightroom or your chosen editing system with that one. So check the CPS emails for details and further information. Okay, so have you found it, Alan? Would you like this?
Yeah, so you just need to go, Anyway.
Could we have the light out, please?
This one here. How's that? So I can show you this picture because I use Lightroom Mobile. So those of you who are using Lightroom and subscribing to the Photographer's Creative Cloud, one of the things that you can do is that you can sync your collections with Lightroom Mobile, which puts it up into the cloud, and so you have your own Lightroom.adobe.com account, and that's where all your collections go. And if you've got Lightroom on your phone, Lightroom Mobile on your phone, you can use that's what I use to show my pictures to people. I also use it on my little tablet that I've got, and it's I find it a really more organised way of showing your pictures to people, rather than having these, what I see people struggling. Oh, just have a look at this for this picture. And they've got it in their gallery on their phone, and there's like 35,000 photographs on their phone, and it takes them 3 days to find it. So if you hit one of those arrows, so this is in my garden. This is a collection called Tancred Street Garden. That's where I live, and that's a gladioli stamen. And again, and there it is again. I got up early one morning and got the camera on the tripod and did some focus stacks as well. Whether they'll come up, because I don't know which way Alice is going. I put that on Facebook and people seem to like that one. Again, move it along. That I think is a focus stack. Which I thought turned out quite well. Keep going. And another one. And again. Oh, I'll go the other way then, because hit it several times. And that's my gladioli. I've got one gladioli that looks really good in the garden, and I think there's another one coming up behind it. Keep going. When I get a bit frustrated and haven't had my camera in my hand for a while, I whip out into the garden and start taking pictures of flowers. Keep going. You get bees. A bit noisy, isn't it? Crikey. Just cycle them through. I do like my bees and my dahlias. So where's the dahlia show? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, right up at Church Corner there. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I have to go along. That is a native bee. I can't remember what it's called. That's on my neighbour's Hebe. Some of these don't look as good on there. Yeah. That is a drone fly. And that is another native bee, and I was really pleased to get that shot. I didn't know I'd got it, and turned out to be sharp. That's how it is originally. They look like they're lining up. There it is again. Hope you don't find these too boring. Oh, have I? Oh, yeah. No, these are single shots, probably about f11, yeah. I use a flash most of the time. I've got a Cygnus Tech diffuser for this sort of stuff. Yeah. Some of them have been through Topaz, and so they get enlarged and sharpened. AI, Topaz AI, photo AI. Well, if I crop them, then I have it automatically so that it basically brings the image back up to the size that it was. So if it was, I think it's 6195 megapixels on one side, or 6000, it goes back up to that size, or 4000 on the vertical.
Is that done in the
Topaz AI, yeah. It's pretty amazing.
So is that, do they call that upscaling? Is that, or is it different? Or?
That's upscaling it, yeah, that's basically what you're doing, yeah.
Is that allowed? AI?
Well, that's the thing. Apparently it is. AI is sharpening, using AI for sharpening is fine, apparently, so. Even though it does completely rearrange the pixels. It's, these are probably on my 90mm macro. No, but the ones that you would have seen of the fly that I got the honours for last week, that's done with a Raynox DCR 250 on the front as well, and that was a photo stack of about 200 photographs.
Do you ever go any sort of narrower than F11?
No, I tend not to.
Right.
Yeah, although I think using Topaz you probably can.
Yeah.
It's insane. In fact, I'll show you what you can do. We'll just find the appropriate collection. If I can get out of here. Got to work out how to. Eh? Oh, well done. But I can't read it. I might do that. I'm just going to bring it down into the screen so I can read the. Oh, what the hell? No, it might be P3 Orion. Oh, no, we want to go. So here's a wonderful shot there of Megan Woods and the Chief Executive of the Selwyn District Council. And for some reason I've stuffed up and the camera's focused on the wall there where the exit sign is. So if we go to the next one, it's growing big for some reason. But that's sharpened and face recovered in Topaz AI, which is just nuts. It's a crazy looking picture. I don't know why it's so big. There it is, yeah. So you can recover images that you shouldn't really be able to recover, and I have done that with quite a few other images at times.
So it's interesting, I mean, you look at the name badge on, and so it just seems to be focusing on the face?
It's just, yeah, it has a face recovery module in it, and it will fix the face. It's quite amazing, yeah. Yeah. I've just been blown away with sometimes with some of the pictures that I think, oh, it's soft, and then, yeah. And in fact, if we press escape, these are my pictures from Wanaka in 2018. And one of the things that I was a bit disappointed in was that, they were a bit soft. And I put them through Topaz, and I got some amazing. They just, you know, I mean, I really love that shot. So that one is that shot there became this shot with a little bit of help from Photoshop. I do quite like extend. Yeah. This is the Command Sea Sprite, which is probably the next aircraft they're going to be replacing, along with the 757s. I've actually turned this into a video, and every now and then I play it on my TV. Oh, you've all seen that one? Up, down, flying around, those magnificent men in their flying machines, that's what that's called. Actually, I may well have flown in that aircraft one time, and possibly in that one. No, that was a training airframe, I think. That's what we should be seeing flying around in our skies now. But thanks to Auntie Helen and the Treasury, oh. Have any of you had the opportunity to play with lens blur in Lightroom? It works quite well, because that's what it looks like originally, and that's what it looks like with a bit of lens blur. I'm not quite sure if I like it, but it turns your your f6.3 or 5.6 lens into an f4 or an f2.8. Oh, and that's the last one. So there you go. That's the fun of. I've been able to show you these pictures because I could log into my account on lightroom.adobe.com and bring them up on the screen. And that's the beauty, I think, of using Lightroom and Lightroom Mobile on your phone and on your laptop and tablet. Works really well. And I hope you all enjoyed that.
Thanks, Alan. That could be another lesson for us sometime, how to get more economical use out of our phone and be able to, you know, at any place, instead of casting to someone's TV, we could just do it that way. Thank you.
Well, you can do it from your phone as well.
Yes, yeah.
Cast to your TV, yeah.
Yeah. But to find your folders, that looks a lot faster once you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got too many now, I start to forget it.
Yes. Well, the evening's come to an end, so thank you very much for all coming along tonight, except Dennis would like to say something.
The pictures you've taken tonight as other creative images can be uploaded from tomorrow to Showcase Creative, and we're looking forward to seeing your images. And also the other showcase, which we'll be showing in a couple of weeks, is the Showcase Our Neighborhood. Those don't have to be pictures you've taken on the walkabout. It could be taken any other time. So we're looking forward to seeing those images as well. And the last thing is a bit of admin stuff. From tonight, you're most welcome to leave by the front door and to enter through the front door before 8 p.m. So thanks, everybody.
Okay, thank you. Talking about the photos we've taken tonight, you want everyone to contribute theirs to their website. Is that right, Dennis?
Yes.
From tonight's?
The Showcase Creative, I'll open that up tonight.
Yes.
And we'll see that sometime in
Okay.
2 or 3 weeks.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. And just one more thing about tonight's photographs. You might like to think about using them, or one of those, for the MDC this month, which is rhythm. There were a lot of patterns being created with the reflections tonight, so you may be able to creatively think of something and create something that will fit into MDC. And while I'm talking about MDC, John Casey has put out an email to us to remind us that we're all going to help with the assessment of 1 to 10 and who gets which image, and their owner gets the chocolate fish at the end of each month. So do let John know that you're willing to have a go at that. And his suggestion is that we'll put somebody a little more experienced in critiquing work with someone who's brand new and would like to. So keep that in mind, because it's these sorts of activities with us being part of that keeps the club running and keeps the enthusiasm up. So with that, I'd like to say thank you and good night to everyone. But first of all, is Heidi still here? Heidi, well, if you're at home already, Heidi, thank you very much for all the time and effort you put into tonight, and all the helpers who came along with their little boxes of goodies to have a go at some creative, reflective images tonight. Thanks, Heidi. And the two members who shared their stories tonight, Janine and Adrianne, thank you very much for that. So we had Dennis, thanks for opening and closing. I'm assuming that you're doing that since you talked about the door. Sound and projection, you three guys here, Alan, Alistair and Gordon, and somebody's missing. Who? Tim. Yes, yes. So thank you to all you guys for making all of this work. And well, it's just time to drive home safely and come back next week. Good night, everyone. Okay, take your chair with you, please, and